book. Don't know much about the French I took.
Starting out with number 1, where a weatherman is trying to avoid the obvious conclusion that the Earth just doesn't have any curvature by saying that we are looking at a superior mirage.
This is from...
Oh my god. So, apparently, yeah, what the fuck do you want to say? The weatherman is going to explain how something from below the curve comes up a little bit higher than normal, and you think that that is an excuse or some false proof of a globe? Do you even realize how dead wrong you are? Because if the Earth was flat, we wouldn't have these talks on TV. We should see the whole of Chicago. Let's try and find it. So here we are. Here we have in a model about 78 meters high, which was the original location, 80 meters high on the dune where the video picture was made. Zoomed in, and we see what it is we should see on the globe and what we should see on a flat Earth. So what does this look like? Well, fuck, it does not look like what we should see on a flat Earth. Somebody's wrong, Jouke, and it ain't me. It ain't me. But there is something else we can look up as well. And if we overlay this, we can see also a very nice picture of what we should see on a flat Earth and what we see on a globe Earth. We also see that the scale of things are not looking exactly the same. They are stretched, and that is because of mirages, refraction it is called. So here again we see the same effect with all the towers, and each time 230 meters are hidden behind the curve, exactly as all models do and predict.
Roll through, and again you can see there are a lot more buildings in the lower image than there are in the top. Again, buildings don't appear and disappear unless they're mirages. And notice how at the end of these things, how the buildings actually separate and kind of smear all to hell.
Oh, look, Jouke. Oh,
Ain't
look,
that
Jouke.
interesting?
And you say it's not a mirage. Oh man, you should have done your homework better, because you just failed miserably. So then he uses some other video that clearly shows that refraction exists, and the video he uses it from makes the claim that it is impossible to bring something up from behind the curve because the technology doesn't exist. Let's listen what the idiot has to say.
Ever see something come up like a scorpion tail and show you things that are hidden behind any curvature? That technology, as far as I know, does not exist to see around curves.
But apparently there is technology on a flat Earth to make things hide as if they are behind the curve. What a fuck way of reasoning is this? But again, let's have a look at how things appear from behind the curve and how simple it is without technology. How does it work? Why do things pop up from behind the curve? If there is some cold air, especially over water in between, which is very nicely demonstrated here by just adding some cold gas on a cylinder and a light behind it simply pops up. We have an explanation why things from behind the curve may appear. There is no explanation on a flat Earth why things should seem to go as if they are behind the curve. Because on a flat Earth there is no refraction. See my video on that. So we don't need technology. Well, that's something, isn't it? Now I still don't know what the excuse for the globe was in the previous part. Nobody was talking about the globe, and then he shows some flat art movies showing refraction and mirages, which he just said don't exist. A bit strange. Let's see what his next point is all about.
The second place, we have a NASA employee who's telling us that the images of the Earth are photoshopped.
He will not say the images are photoshopped. What you are going to do is show one video, one image that has been photoshopped and that will be discussed. Don't lie, don't lie.
Who's telling us that the images of the Earth are photoshopped, but they have to be.
But they have to be. That they are photoshopped, but they have to be. I don't understand this sentence. Does anybody here, please put in your comments below what this guy is trying to say? I have no clue, no freaking clue. Let's see what he then has to say.
NASA's Rob Simon made this, and it had wide appeal too. For example, it ended up as the default background on the iPhone.
Ah, right. So here they explain a little bit. Oh! So they explain how the picture of that particular picture was made, with the light blue adding the clouds later, etc., etc., and how they had to stitch images together. But basically,
Instrument that measures
that doesn't say
phytoplankton.
anything about the globe, you moron. Imagine you want to have a picture of Jesus Christ on the cross, and I make a painting for you using my computer. Does that then mean that the guy never existed because my picture is photoshopped? No. What you do here is make a ultimate mistake again. One of the things is you show the fucking satellite that on a low orbit flies around the globe, making the pictures that were used to stitch this together. Yes, sometimes they do that, because if you want to have high resolution pictures, you want to use a satellite on a low orbit and not one that is 1,000,000 miles away. This is a real picture, and it's taken by the NASA ATS-3 satellite in 1967, before you were even born, I guess. Yeah. And then in 1972, the Apollo 17, against the commands or against the rules, did make a picture. And look, the South Pole. Yes. And then we have had some stitch together observations. Yes, they do happen. And then we have an image from Discover satellite, which makes a constant recording and every 10 minutes or so picture of the Earth. And then we still have the Japanese Himawari 8 satellite also making pictures every day. So the fact that somebody at one given time made a animation for educational purposes does not constitute proof against the globe. You in your own video are so dumb that you showed the satellite with which the pictures were made, that were stitched together. So come on, don't be a fool, don't be a fool. People, how in the world is this excuse for the globe? This picture is real, absolutely, as were the original pictures made by the Apollo and one of the first satellites. Those are real pictures. And I have a video that shows people in the backyard using their own satellite antenna and picking pictures from those satellites. So, where is your picture? Not a CGI, not a drawing of your flat Earth. Sorry, dude. You lose again. By far. You have nothing. And you pick a picture that shows what the Earth would look like, but is not intended as the sole proof of the globe. It has nothing to do with the proof of the globe. It shows in great detail what it would look like. This picture here is clear proof, and this picture here is clear proof, because they are not modified. So that was not a very good success. The question is, will the next point from Jouke have anything to do with the shape of the Earth? And let's just do this very quickly. We will see what is coming here. Oh, the Don Petit interview, where he says that we destroyed technology. And if I would go today to a company like Philips and ask them to build me a television set the way they did in 1970, then they will say, sorry, we can't do that. Can't do that. And if I say, well, I pay you 10 million, they say, no, sorry, even with 10 million, we cannot do that. I pay you 100 million, sorry, we cannot do that. In order to build that thing, they used to have that TV or this lunar lander. They would have to spend $500 million or billions to do that. And it doesn't make sense because they have been there already. Philips also threw away all the drawings and of the older technology. The factories are not even there anymore. So it's a very bad argument. It's also done by an astronaut who is a chemist and not a technical engineer. So the question is he even qualified to make such a statement? So this is debunked more than once, and in the meantime the Chinese landed on the moon, and the Israelis even did a hard landing on the moon. Now the next point which our friend brings forward is SpaceX, Elon Musk saying that it must be fake because it looks fake or something like that. Again, neither Don Petit or this has anything to do with the shape of the globe. So I don't understand the whole title of his video, Top 10 Worst Excuses for the Globe. This has nothing to do with an excuse for the globe. Then somebody apparently once said it all looks like balls, so the Earth must be a ball. Yes, that is an argument people could use, but we of course have here a video of the big fraud Rob Skiba, who does a straw man, because he says, well, if all the billiard balls are round, does that mean that the pool table needs to be round? Now, in both cases, these things are man-made, and the balls would fall off the table. So it is a fucking non-argument. This is a straw man. The real argument is if things by their own shape and form, then they become a ball, and so should the Earth. That is the only reasonable argument. And if we look into space and we see asteroids, etc., the bigger they are, the more gravity they have, the rounder they will seem to be. So, very simple. It's not an argument. It's actually a real fallacy. And the next thing he comes up with is Eratosthenes, where he starts lying as well. Things that these are arguments for a close by sun, Well, the problem is if you look at pictures of a sun through trees, then you will see that you get the same effect. And then apparently the sun is only 100 meters high, 2 meters in diameter behind the tree. Yeah? Look it up, Jouke, you moron, and you will see that there are also people who look with the sun behind them and also see these rays, and then they converge again. And that's strange, but it simply means that you are looking here at parallel lines that are just like railroad tracks. Seem to go and merge into one point, but they're actually parallel. Again, it is not a poor excuse for the globe. I don't see the whole reasoning. I don't understand the whole reasoning. Then you come up with Eratosthenes that he was going to prove that the Earth was round. No, he did not. They already knew for centuries that the Earth was round. The problem he was trying to solve was, can I now calculate how big it is? And that is something completely different. So again, absolute stupid argument. Now, of course, you could argue that you could do the same thing on a flat Earth. But based on that, they fantasized that the sun was like 5 kilometers high, at 3 miles approximately, because any other place, and you would get a different reading, where it would work on the globe, as recently shown by Bob the Science Guy, who did an actual test with 2 different locations in the United States. Go look it up. Before posting your idiocy, first check what people have done and have said already, because you make an utter fool of yourself. An utter fool. Then somewhere we come to his point 7, which is also, oh my god, he is here wondering why the shade of the Earth is coming from above. It's a non-issue. It simply means he by far does not understand how a eclipse works. But the worst thing is that on a flat Earth this cannot even happen. Independent of the direction from where the shade comes, on a flat Earth this can never happen. You cannot have the shade of the Earth in between the sun and the moon. So it's not a poor excuse for the globe. Again, it doesn't match the title of your video, and you basically show again that you have no comprehension whatsoever about what it means to have a flat Earth, and you have absolute any comprehension of what the globe model is and is like. You continue this nonsense. Here we have Neil deGrasse Tyson talking about pear shapes. Seems to be a favorite topic of you, but you leave something out. You know, you leave something out. Let's listen to what you leave out. You little cowardice, oxygen thieving simpleton. Let's listen to Jouke's part.
Chubby's a good way. It's like pear-shaped.
And I'm thinking, well, we've been seeing pictures of the Earth from space, and it's a perfect circle. So either you don't know what you're talking about, or those pictures aren't real.
Right. And then with a picture of Eric Dubé in the background. You can't go more wrong than this. So, you, fraud, left out something. And we are going to listen to that. A minute later in the same discussion, when he has said that the pear-shapedness is a little bit bigger than the highest mountain or the deepest trench, but how much is it? How much are these mountains and deep valleys?
We've been
It's a
fed.
point of view thing, I think.
Earth has been misrepresented to us by geologists. Because the globes that you buy, that you rub your fingers over and you feel the Himalayas and you feel the Rocky Mountains. No. No, okay? These mountains are puny compared to the size of the Earth. You would not know they were there. If you were truly that size, some big cosmic giant lumbering through space, coming upon the Earth, rubbing your hand on it, the depth of your what do you call these?
Your finger.
The fingerprints mark. The depth of that would be greater than the entire range of distance from the Marianas Trench in the bottom of the Pacific to the top of Mount Everest. Therefore, you would close your eyes, rub your finger, you would not know whether you are on ocean, valley, mountain, or hill.
Well, it might be wet or dry. It might be,
Well, by how much wet?
a little.
How? No.
Yes.
You wouldn't even notice it. You're not going to say, oh, I got to dry my hand. The depth
Yeah.
of the ocean doesn't measure up to the depth of your fingerprint. That's my point.
Oh.
So we've been fed this misrepresentation of our own planet on the belief that, in fact, we have real surface features. But cosmically speaking, we're practically a perfect sphere. But cosmically speaking,
So, cosmically speaking, we live on a perfect sphere. Wow! There goes the pear-shaped fucking argument. Only retards use that. Right, so we went very fast. And the last point Jouke wants to bring up is that's amazing. He then thinks he can use an argument called the sidereal day. It is the optima forma way of showing that he is ignorant. Because he uses a video that explains perfectly well the difference between a sidereal day and a solar day. And then he lets that perfect video, which explains it, follow up by a retard video by a by a flatard, global flatard, and then he goes along with that. Whereas he just had a perfect explanation. He shows the perfect explanation in his own top 10 worst excuses for the globe. The globe shape basically has nothing to do with going around the sun or not. You can have a globe shaped in a world created by a creator where the globe is a ball and which is geocentric. Because talking about the form of the earth is talking about ball versus flat, and it ain't flat. So all the other things you come up with movement and this and that, no, you first have to disprove the globe, which was proven almost 2,700 years ago, or maybe even longer before that. So, his stupid argument. Let's listen.
Then at the 10th place we have the so-called sidereal day, which is invented to avoid the obvious conclusion that if the sun...
It's not invented. You can go out, Jouke. Just go out and have a look. You can measure it yourself. Invented.
would go around if the earth would go around the sun, then night and day should be reversed after half a year.
A day on Earth is a deceivingly simple concept. So even after a 360-degree turn, the sun is not directly above the same point on Earth that it was at the beginning of the spin. It is not noon of the next day. The red reference line needs to spin a little more than 360 degrees to get us to noon.
So, excellent explanation. And what does our silly twat do?
Is December 22nd during
He
the winter
goes
solstice
with a
at 12
completely,
p.m.
utterly
Universal
and
Time?
stupid, foolish video made by a flatard who makes you believe that the part that points to the sun should reverse. No, it does not. It does not. This is so silly. I think in the end I could explain a child this. No, Jouke. First of all, it has nothing to do with the shape of the globe. Therefore, it cannot be a worse excuse or a bad argument or whatever for a globe. You just shown that you have a perfect video that explains you how it works, and you don't grab it, you don't understand it. Watch this part again, idiot. Come on, watch this part again. It's perfect explanation.
Of its orbit is an ellipse and not.
It is very well explained here. If you don't get it, then stop making flat earth movies, because you will never ever win an argument if you can't comprehend the basic globe model. And again, you failed throughout this whole video you made to come up with points that cover which cargo covers the name of your video, because you don't address any excuse for a globe. You also do not address any proof of the globe, because all you show are flat earth movies and not movies made to explain how the globe works. Therefore, your whole video is a fake, and you actually have hidden information away from the viewers that would show that you are wrong, like you did with the interview of Neil deGrasse Tyson. So you're fraudulent, you're idiotic, you suffer severely from Dunning-Kruger, you have a smug on your face when you say it must be refraction or Fata Morganas or whatever, and then you yourself show that it actually exists. I mean, come on, how dense do you need to be? Stop making these silly movies. You lost the discussion, and your little partner, well, we already know he's a coward, because he's just hiding somewhere, probably in a pig's den or whatever. So, people, this is my analysis of our Jouke, who then of course has to end with stupid Bible texts. He could better end with texts from the Game of Thrones or whatever, which is first of all a much better story, and second, it's much closer to reality. Thank you all, and Jouke, piss off.